we'll go for supplier request today. So first of all, we'll see supplier request, and then SLP we'll see all SLP features, whatever the features are there. Okay, and then from SLP we'll go for sourcing, then contracts, then downstream, then template configuration. This will be the flow. Okay, then integration and reporting part will be last. So any idea why we do supplier onboarding process?
To make transactions and to verify the details.
Transactions, yes. To make transactions, we want to onboard suppliers, right? So once you are onboarding supplier, it means we can have a transaction with them. Okay. Without
Mhm,
onboarding, without any authentication, we can't onboard anyone, right?
mhm,
So to have a transaction, we need suppliers to be onboarded in our system. Okay. So to onboard supplier, we have in SLP. Okay. We have supplier request process where supplier will be requested. So again, it will have approval process. Once supplier request is approved, I will just give you overview. Okay. Supplier request is given. Then supplier request, it will trigger approval flow. Okay. So in this supplier request, who will approve this? Supplier manager or buyer or any senior manager. Those who are handling supplier management team, simply supplier management team, higher authority can approve the supplier request. Okay. Or procurement ops, junior agent. Okay. These people can check the details and approve it. Okay. This is supplier request. Once supplier request is done or once supplier request is approved, next process what buyer do, it will go for inviting supplier for registration. So next process comes supplier registration. Supplier registration. Where supply in supplier registration, we need more details. In supplier request, we'll ask basic details. Okay, like basic contact name, number, their company's name, contact details, primary contact person, secondary contact person, email ID. These are the basic requirement in supplier request. Okay, but if you want to know more about their process, more about their company, their financial status, their banking details, okay, then we'll go for the supplier registration process. So again, once we invite supplier registration, supplier will come online, he will sign up on Ariba network, and once he submitted all the required details or required questionnaires what we are asking them, okay, then it will again trigger for approval flow. Okay. So in this supplier registration approval flow, again it will have multiple approvals. Okay, finance team can check, or finance team, any legal team who are going to check the legal documents in whatever the registration documents which they have. Okay, they can also the part of approval node. Okay. So in this supplier request approval node will be different. Supplier registration approval node will be different. Okay. Once supplier registration is done, then supplier can directly sync to backend system, okay, or they can go for next processes for supplier qualification. Supplier qualification or then supplier disqualification qualification, or if you don't want to go ahead with this supplier, because in registration documents we are not satisfied with the answers which he has given, so what we'll go for disqualification. So in disqualification we have a reason that on the basis of these documents or on the basis of these criteria we are going to disqualify it. Okay, so disqualification we can set or we can qualify it. So qualification will be based on commodity code, region, department. Okay. For that commodity code and region, that supplier is qualified, and so we can have a RFX event with them, contract with them. Okay. For them, for this supplier qualification is required. So basically, if you see, this is entire process. Once it is qualified, again you can go ahead with the preferred vendor, okay, preferred supplier, you can go ahead. Okay, this is entire process. This process we can have in Ariba SLP. Okay, these you can say this is the features which Ariba offers. Okay, which starts with supplier request. Okay, so I will just write down supply SLP features. Okay, in interviews they might ask what are the features of supplier or SLP. Okay, number one feature is dashboard management. Number two feature is supplier request registration workflow. If you see supplier request registration workflow is approval flow. Okay, supplier request registration workflow. Okay, third feature is supplier qualification disqualification. Qualification disqualification. Fourth feature is certificate management. So in SLP, you can manage this supplier certificate as well. As most of the client require their suppliers to have a specific certification. Okay, and without that certification, you can't deal with that supplier. So for the certification management is very important. There's supplier performance management, where you can manage or track the supplier performance, how he behaves. Okay, whatever the transactions which we have done with that supplier, we can track them and we can analyze that whether the supplier is good for future transactions, what is the capacity, how he has done in previous year, previous quarter. That can be monitored here. Okay, content management. Content management, so whatever the required or questionnaires we are going to ask supplier, we have all the details maintained in Ariba SLP. Okay, so we are going to see each and every features here in entire sessions. Okay, so these, always remember, these are the basic features that SLP provides. Okay, if you see here in supplier, okay, supplier management, so how to navigate this in home, supplier management. So particularly this realm has supplier request registration. Okay, so next process is supplier register. After registration, qualification, disqualification, then preferred vendor. uh, these features are not enabled, I guess, in this realm, but in any organization these features are available. After registration, preferred vendor, supplier, and qualification disqualifications are available. Here I don't think it is available. Let me check. uh, yeah, qualification is also available, but not yet qualified. Not any single vendor is qualified. That's why in this dashboard we are not able to see. Okay, if you want to see any supplier, you can search supplier within supplier name or supplier ID. You see only 1167 suppliers are available right now here. If you want to see any supplier like this Abhijit LLC, okay, you can go ahead and search here this supplier. Okay, you have a category, you can search with the category as well. Okay, which category supplier you want to search. This feature is for filtering the suppliers or to reach the suppliers immediately. Okay, if you see similar way when we go for Amazon uh, and add some filters, okay, and we get the less results. Similar way we can find the less results and we have accuracy of which suppliers which we are required. Okay, So this is a dashboard. It comes. This is the supplier management dashboard. Okay, we'll go for supplier request now. We'll process. I will just explain supplier request types now. Okay. Any question on this?
Hmm. Now you're talking about realm. What is the realm here?
Realm. This is
Realm.
a realm. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. This is a realm here. Means whatever the realm available for logging. This is, if you see, this is the realm for login to Ariba. So if you see this, so this is a realm. This is Professor ADS app. Okay. If you go for
Mm-hmm.
any other client, it this realm will be changed and it will have your client's realm. If your client is Bajaj Electricals, okay, it will have Bajaj Electricals dash T. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
or if your client is Accenture, okay, then realm will be, all things will be similar, and realm name will be, instead of Professor dash DS app, it will have Accenture DS app, or any TCR DS app. This is the test realm. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
realm is nothing but the website.
Okay.
Okay, so it will just change the realm name. Means this will be done by, while implementing, this will be done by SAP. Okay, they will share a realm details. Okay, and on that realm we have to perform other activities. Okay, so if you
Okay.
see, I clicked on that realm. Okay, then it shows user ID and password for login. So
Mm-hmm.
to enable this, we need to contact with SAP. SAP will share your realm details. They will ask you what realm name you required. We have to provide the
Mm-hmm.
realm name, and they will enable it in workbook enablement. Once it is complete, they will share the test site details with us, where you can just go using user ID and then password. Okay, so sometimes there are multiple realms in the single system or in single organization. Okay, that time, if you see, if you want to go in downstream, there is another realm. So this is upstream realm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is a child realm. If you want to go for child realm, you have to click on that tab, and now you are in child realm. Okay, difference between child realm and parent realm is, if you want to connect any backend system with any other realm or any other backend system, if you have, okay, you can change with the multiple realms. Okay, consider this realm is connected to ECC system, but I have Oracle system also for few transactions or for few departments. So for that, you will have multiple realm here. Realm, child realm 1, child realm 2, child realm 3, like that. Okay, but most of the time right now, I haven't seen multiple realms clients are using. So once they have a single backend system, but you just have to keep in mind that if someone asks in interview that have you worked on multiple realms, so we can say we haven't worked, but we know how these realms works. Okay, these realms are connected to different backend system. That's it. Okay, clear?
So in a parent realm, we see the same data, and in child realm, we see the same data.
No, 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 no. In parent realm, you will have only upstream data. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you go in parent realm, okay, data can be visualized anywhere. Okay, but transaction can't be processed. Okay, if you want to process the transaction, you have to go in parent realm. This is parent realm. It will have separate database.
Mm-hmm.
Here you can do all the transactions. In child RAM, you can see the data, but you can do the transactions.
Okay.
Okay. So, uh, nowadays, these child realms are not available, or they are not doing. They are integrating everything in the single realm nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So, any other question?
No. Thank you.
Then we'll go ahead for supplier request. Okay. So, supplier request, we have two types of request. One is internal request, where within organization this request is processed. Okay. And second one is external one. So, in external, they will so organization will put up, or client will put up this link of supplier registration or request form, sorry, supplier request form, any their website, or they can share over email as well if they want to share with the supplier. Okay. Or they can put up somewhere in uh, link, they can put up anywhere. Okay, external link you can say. Okay. So it means these things are not available within organization. Like I have my website. Okay. Consider Bajaj Electricals is my organization. And in Bajaj Electricals organization, I have a tab there for supplier request. Okay. Where supplier will come, any supplier can come and submit their request. Okay. Once they submitted request, so in organization, how they will receive it? In supplier request manager or supplier request team, they will receive all this email or external details of that supplier over email, that this supplier wants to request for himself. Okay. So once the supplier request team receives these details over email, they will start filling internal request form, or we can directly have a supplier request external link and approval flow. But most of the organization, they are directly going with the supplier request internally within organization. External request is not performed, but if in case any client has a requirement that they want to go for external requirement, they want to they want to like put up their request details or their forms in external system, they can do it as well. Okay. So these are the two types: supplier request, internal and external. Okay. So in supplier request, basic details we required, okay, in supplier request form, okay, that will be performed by whom? The supplier request will perform by buyer in buyer realm, or buyer will perform this thing. Okay. Because he knows the details of supplier with whom he want to do the transaction. So what he will do, he has the basic information, or he will get the basic information or email, and with this email he will start the supply internal request. Okay. So I will just show how to perform the supplier request. To home, create supplier request. Okay. Organization name. So to whom I am going to onboard supplier, so I will give a test supplier 0507. Okay. So if you see, I just mentioned test supplier. Okay. 18 potential duplicates were found based on the information provided. Okay. It means we have a duplicate check here. We can see with the same name how many suppliers are already in the system. Okay. So there are 18 potential matches. So to avoid multiple suppliers to onboard, we have this feature duplicate check. You can check the suppliers. If you see test supplier, but every test supplier is different. But in actual, while implementing or in any organization, there might be chances that supplier might have same name. Okay, that's why this duplicate checks feature provided by SLP. You can check the duplicate suppliers as well. So I'm giving a unique name here, block 50. This is just supplier request form. Okay, if you see general information, primary contact details, additional information, most means this is not required as of now, but this form is designed like that. So we have to fill this detail, additional information if required in supplier request form. You can give payment address, tax number. This is also not required, but some this is a test run. Someone might be testing with the different forms. Okay, that's why these details are there. Okay, supplier information and compliance. Okay, so basic information we are getting from the suppliers here. Okay, so these forms are designed at the back end. So while template configuration sessions, we will see how these forms are designed, how these forms are designed in the back end, and how it looks, how it will come to front end, like what we are doing. Okay, so right now I'm giving address details. So I'll go, okay, here Pune, country region is India, okay, state is Maharashtra. So I'm giving details here, primary contact details, test, supplier, contact name, testing, contact phone number, dummy phone number I'm giving, email ID, email.com. The similar way the buyer is performing this activity. So category of that supplier. So I might know the category. So I'm just selecting for all item or category. They have all items. Buyer region. So buyer region will be India. I will just search Asia, Asia Pacific. I'm just selecting the region user department. These are the user department which we have. What is your tax number? So in supply request, just to understand whether this person is taxable or whether they have a tax number or not, these questions we can ask and have a test tax supplier information. So name of the supplier, commodity code. I'm selecting all commodity codes. Reason, what is the reason for supplier request? What activity you are going to perform. So I'm going to do, the buyer is aware about this supplier. Okay, so just think about buyer's perspective. Why I'm going to onboard this supplier, why I'm going to request this supplier, because I have to do his with him sourcing activity, contract activity, or purchase. Okay, so for this reason I'm onboarding this supplier. Okay, are you in compliance? If yes or no, you can select anything. So all required or mandatory details are filled. If you see, a star mark is for mandatory field. Okay. I've completed this form. I will submit for approval. So your supply request submission in progress. Once it is complete, you can view to submitted request. Okay. Click on here. Is any question?
No, no.
So now we have just submitted supplier. Okay. you can see test supplier. Now it is available here in dashboard. Okay. And current status, it is in approval process. Supplier name, current status, next step by whom? Project owner. So project owner has to approve it. So this project owner node is given at the backend, whom that supplier has to be approved. Okay. That's why it is showing project owner. If there is a multiple nodes available, it will show another node as well. Okay. The action. So you want to approve the supplier, you need to click on view. Okay. So this is the supplier. Now consider I have requested this supplier and it goes to my manager for approving this supplier. So he will have this visualization or this screen available. Okay. He can check what details buyer has submitted, what is required, anything missing in this form, or any additional information is required for particular supplier. Okay. In this case, approval for supplier request form is project owner waiting for approval. Okay. Here you can see approve, deny, request additional information, or cancel. So I want more information, then I can go ahead and ask additional information. Okay. If I don't want supplier, because supplier has submitted something wrong questions or wrong details in the supplier request form, or buyer has submitted some wrong details, then supplier manager can deny this. I don't want to go with this supplier. Okay. Then buyer has to again check what is wrong with this form, or what request details which he has missed, and that's why this got denied. Okay. Then he has to again submit the details and get it approved. Okay. Current status in approval. Supplier name, see supplier name will be shown. Requested by, so requested by the person, the buyer's name, it will be shown here. On requested, requested on July 5th. So this is the supplier name requested by this buyer on 5th of July. So approver can see all these details, and these details are very important whenever if you want to check on 5th of July how many supplier got requested, or any 10th of July or 10th of June how many supplier got requested. You can run the report and the background, and you can show, you can present it in your organization as well. There might be a chances that you want to fetch the data how many supplier requested in the month of January. Okay. So for this fields, from here we can fetch that report. We can see that when reporting sessions as well. Okay. I'm just giving a overview why this is important. So right now I'm just directly approving this supplier, and this is serial approval flow. Only one approval flow is there, one person is approving. Okay. If there are multiple approvers, they can come once this is done, or it will trigger another node where he has to approve it. Okay. Now project owner is doing, so approving it. If I want to add any comment, I can add. This is approved, confirm, the action in progress. Once it's complete, done. Okay. Right now, earlier status was in approval, right? Now status is in approved status. You can see once this is the dashboard. Okay. Like the same thing. Earlier it was showing in approval. Now it is new supplier is created. Any comment, you can see here the comment as well. Okay, buyer can see all these details. Okay. And now supplier 360 profile is created. Okay. So you want to see the supplier details here, view supplier profile. Click here. Okay. So this is supplier 360 profile where you will have all the details. Sorry. Okay. So if you can see supplier name, SM vendor ID, so vendor ID is created here. About supplier, whether this supplier registration status, invited, not invited, prefers, uh, not preferred. As of now, this supplier is not preferred. Integration status, not integrated, created on 5th of July. Onboarding time, qualification status. This is information about that supplier. If you want to see the information, all informations are available. Contact details, you can go ahead and check contact details. If you see test supplier, this is the name of that contact person, email ID of that contact person. ERP data. In ERP data, once the supplier is integrated with the backend system, okay, then you can see ERP data as well. Okay, tax information, extended vendor information, address, okay, company code, purchasing data. So for which company code he is available. Okay, that things we can see once this supplier is integrated. Right now, this is just requested. Okay, certificates, if any certificate is required, or if any certificate he has submitted, we can see that as well. Activity log, so activity log means whatever the transactions or activities done with this supplier, we can see all that activities here. You see Ariba supplier request task, the supplier request task from Professor 64 is submitted. Okay, these are the logs with the supplier. Okay, then just summary. Okay, I will just explain what is this supplier IDs. Okay, these are very important IDs. So this is supplier vendor SM vendor ID. SM vendor ID is unique ID given to each supplier. This will be automatically given by SAP once new supplier is onboarded. Okay, so you can search this supplier using this vendor ID, SM vendor ID. If you, this is unique ID available, so each supplier will have a different vendor ID, SM vendor ID. So go ahead and check. If you want to check this supplier, supply at this 0507 test supplier, so I can see the supplier details. ERP vendor ID, so ERP vendor ID is required for integrating this supplier. This supplier is available right now in upstream, so integrating this supplier with downstream, you require this ERP vendor ID. Okay, so using this ERP vendor ID, the ABAP program is written on the basis of this supplier is integrated. So it will have a unique ID at the backend as well. Okay, this will be the reference ID for them. Similar one, this is also unique ID. We can find the suppliers using this ID as well. Supplier management is the one. Go. This is the ERP vendor ID. Okay. Within this one, you can search it. ANID is not available. This is Ariba network ID. So when this will available, once supplier has submitted his form or registration form, then this ANID will be available. Okay. So we'll go and check once supplier submitted in registration process. Once he submitted the details, okay, ANID will be shown here. Okay, and then status will be changed from registration status to registered status. It will show. ACM ID. ACM ID is ID Ariba collaborative ID. You can say this is used for external system or API system to fetch the data or update the data. Okay, if you want to use any APIs, okay, this all this vendor ID vendor ID or IDs are used for different purposes, and different logics are written at the backend to update the details with the front end. Okay, so we just need to keep in mind that this ID is used for API purposes. API where API will fetch the details of the suppliers and they will update if they want to update any suppliers or in there are some companies who build their internal forms using this IDs as well. Okay, so that is used for fetching the data. Okay, clear with this IDs? Any
Mhm.
question? Okay, so overall supplier risk. So these IDs, SMID, ACMID, or vendor ERP ID, these are created automatically by SLP itself. These number range are created by SLP. We are not doing anything here. Okay, this is SAP's standard function. Whenever new supplier is onboarded, it start with yes and then number, ERP, VDR, and then number. This is 7 ID number. Okay, and ACM ID is similar. ACM underscore the numbers. Okay, this is standard functionality of SLP, and that's how these IDs are getting created. We haven't done anything. Okay, we don't need to do, or we don't need to configure anything at the back end. This is directly done by supplier SLP. Okay, clear? So that's it for today. Okay, supplier request. We'll go one by one. Supplier registration. Tomorrow we'll see supplier registration, what activities or how we onboard the supplier, what questionnaires, what forms we need to fill. Okay, and how suppliers is onboarded. Okay, so till that time, any questions if you have, you can ask.